So in this segment, we're going to be talking about schools holding crisis talks and consider 3-day work weeks as teacher salaries rise slightly and soaring energy bills cripple budgets. I think it's the energy bills that are going to do them in because schools are quite expensive to run and they're not subject to the price cap because they're run as businesses. Homes have the price cap, businesses don't, so effectively they're paying a lot more for their energy. Schools across the country are holding crisis meetings. Teachers are also set to be awarded pay rises in September, which experts will warn will add more pressure on schools' already tight finances. Let's not forget the Tories cut a lot of money from schools as well. And the fact that should be central government really paying for these pay rises, not the schools themselves in a sense. The central government should be covering it. Mark Jordan, CEO of Creative Education Trust, which has 17 schools in the Midlands. Why is these schools all run by one trust? It doesn't make any sense. He told The Telegraph that some schools were considering 3-day working weeks in a bid to save cash. Dr. Robert Bevan, headmaster of Southend High School for Boys in Essex, also told the newspaper if a 4-day work week is not being planned, it will certainly be considered for some schools. And 4-day work weeks sounds like a great thing, it really does, but the problem is if you're doing it because you can't afford to run your school or your business, that's not great, especially because, parents won't be able to go to work if their kids are stuck at home. That's what's going to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to have parents have to take a day off out of the week, which means they're going to be out of the workforce, which is going to damage the economy. How the government are going to account for that, I have no idea. Other desperate measures could include recruitment freezes, which we're short of teachers as is, scrapping COVID catch-up programs, which long-term is a disaster, and building improvements and planning redundancies. So you've got building improvements, so that's a lack of improving, the school's infrastructure, whether it's, extensions or just fixing up things that could break in future, and planning redundancies, firing people, teachers potentially, admin staff, back office people, maybe cleaners, etc. It's ridiculous. Now, it comes as funding per pupil in England has collapsed by 9% between 2010 and 2020 in real terms, despite the government's additional £7 billion for school budgets. Now, the question is, who was in charge between 2010 and 2020? Which party was in charge during that period? Any guesses? It's the Tories. There's nothing more I think I wanted to cover in this article, but point being is that, look, we can see the pupil funding has been killed effectively by the Tories, and that's put the schools in a very bad position. And once a crisis hits, like the cost of energy being price gouged by these energy companies, it's just madness. A spokesperson for education said our school white paper sets out the expectation that schools should last a minimum of 32 hours per week. What happens if the school can't afford to run? You're going to put the school into special measures if they enter the red zone. Effectively, I don't know. It's just, even schools are being impacted by this so much that they're considering, schools hate being closed. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if a head teacher could have a school open all week. They would do. Head teachers are evil. There's a TV show about it anyways. But point being is that schools are looking at 3 to 4 day weeks because they can't afford to run. Like I said, schools are very expensive to run. They're huge. Some of these are huge buildings. With incredible energy costs, just keep them warm during the winter and cool during the summer is a nightmare. But what more can you say apart from the fact that the government have failed another kind of key institution of this country, the education system? They have failed schools again and again, and here it is. I wonder how these Tories will react when they're going to have to be stuck at home looking after their kids because schools closed on a Friday or a Monday or maybe a midweek. I'm sure there'll be many Tory voters happy having to spend more time with their children. I'm sure they're going to be very upset. Or should they be very happy about it, having to spend more time with their children? But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.